Do you think a lot of people set their standards too low?
Oh, absolutely.
The reason I ask this is because it just came to my mind. I put up a photo from when I had surgery last year compared to a photo like a week ago. And people were commenting being like, oh, your worst photo and your low is like most people's goals and all this other shit. And I was like, I literally replied being like, yes, because their standards are so low. It's like people need to set the bar higher than for themselves and stop bottlenecking what's possible. Because I think so many people think it's acceptable to be overweight and out of shape and like, you don't have to be muscular and jacked, but like for you not to be overweight and like essentially shortening the longevity of your life because you can't control your eating habits is your own conscious choice and you setting low standards for yourself.
Absolutely. And I think depending on what part of the world you live in too, right? Like you're the sum of your surroundings.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because when we travel, depending on like we were noting here, how fit people are. Like the gym that we visited, is it
Binus, yeah.
Yeah. That gym, it's like insane how fit people are. Like you think you're fit until you walk in there and everybody, I'm like, does everybody here compete? This is weird, which I don't think they do. I think people are just fit. You know, I went back home. I'm actually originally from Los Angeles and I've just noticed how out of shape people are. So if you're around that all the time, like you start to think that that's normal.
Acceptable.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I mean, I hear this from a lot of clients and you might have some clients that say this to you as well. They get criticized by their friends and family when they start a fitness journey and they're like, why are you working out so much? You look great. Like, are you trying to be a fitness model? You know what I mean? Like
shitty little digs.
Yeah. They give you those little stabs and it's like, well, no, I want to do a little bit better because I know I could do better. So yeah, I think people do set their standards low. And I think part of it is our environment, you know, so you got to get around people who are doing what you're doing, who are passionate, who are achieving more. I think that's one of the reasons why we loved moving to Las Vegas is we're just really surrounded by like a fit community. Not everybody's a competitor, but they're all sort of trying to progress in some areas of their life. And so we've just, you know, made some really great connections, made some new friends, and it's just really inspiring because, you know, if you're the sum of your surroundings, you've got to be aware and like actively putting yourself in those environments so that you can grow. So yeah, I think standards are a really big thing that people need to really look at and consider if they want to have a better quality of life, not even just for fitness, right? We talk about business a lot, relationships, you know, like, are you hanging out with people who are in shitty relationships all the time or who
bitch about their friends?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think the standards are, for most people, are lower than they should be. And if they just take a second to like really think about what they want their life to look like 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and actually write that down. I encourage our clients to do that. Like if you don't have this written down, you don't know where you're going. So write it down, get it on paper.
A big thing I think a lot of people do is they think of too short time frames. So people think, oh, in 12 weeks, I don't know, in 12 weeks I want to look like X, Y, Z. In 12 weeks I want to achieve Y. It's like, I don't think in 12 weeks, I think 3 to 5 years, like always. Like think long term, because then it gives you the ability to set bigger goals and like the compounding effect of then just ticking off small wins daily. So I think the best thing people can do is focus on like winning each day and just making the right decisions like in front of them, and then having a big goal rather than setting like 8 to 12 week goals, which is what most people do. And obviously like within the fitness industry, we set a lot of 12-week programs, 6 months, whatever. But the reality is if you want to become like the best in the world at something like you have done, that's not happening in 12 weeks or 6 months. Like how long would you say from you kicking your ass into gear to then getting to where you want to be? What was that time length, you reckon?
Well, I think it's the accumulation of like my history, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, certainly you could say, hey, I you know, busted my butt for 18 months or something. You could say that, but I also had, you know, 12, 13 years of competition experience prior. So I think knowing my mistakes back then and knowing maybe where I think back to my younger self, maybe I didn't push myself as much. So actually, yeah, we can talk a little bit about that. One of the reasons I think I didn't excel in my younger years in bodybuilding, I mean, I won shows and I won the overall a couple times, but I never really continued because it was always very short term. So I would compete and be, you know, ready to be on stage, do a show, and then I'd kind of go back to what I was doing, you know, and I wasn't fully committed to like a 3 to 5 year thing. So when I started with WBFF, it's actually really funny that you mentioned the 3 to 5 years, because I thought, okay, well, if I can buckle down and really commit to this, and maybe I need 3 to 5 years, like so be it. I'm all in. I'm going to do the stuff in the off season. I just need to like go for it. That was what was in my head. And I think I achieved these goals. I mean, I think I won the world title because that was my mindset. I was thinking 3 to 5 years. years and I actually did it in half. But I think it's because a lot of people, they come off the shows and they go, oh, I need a break. And don't get me wrong, I felt burnt out at times for sure. I mean, especially with, running the business and our business growing pretty rapidly this past year. I think we grew 280% last year. So, I mean, doing that, expanding the business and then also being so on point even in the off season, I definitely felt burnt out, but I just knew that if I didn't do it, I was afraid, I think, more of being set back and not seeing my full potential. And I think that's one of my regrets from when I was younger, when I competed, because I would win shows and I would stop, win shows and stop. I'm like, man, I could have been Miss Olympia.
But you didn't have the consistency over the whole year.
No.
And what do you put that down to? Do you think that was a network of people around you, maybe?
Absolutely. Yeah. Circling back to what we just talked about too. It was 100% my network at the time. It was just my family situation at the time, my work situation at the time. It just wasn't really conducive of like being able to have longevity in the space. And so if you look at the top competitors or anyone who's top at their game in anything, everyone in their circle is doing that thing, right? They're 100% all in, committed to that. And I didn't really have that back then. And I feel like now, not that I like rejected other people in my life, I just spent more time here, spent more time with these individuals.
It's because the other people aren't aligned with your values of where you want to go, who you want to be. And I think not even necessarily, it's not from a place of hate or anything wrong, but often the people who are closest to you are the ones who hold you back. So particularly like family members. So like particularly maybe like parents, for example, they don't understand what you're trying to achieve, or they want you to stay safe and get a safe 9-to-5 job. They don't want you to compete and have an online business and do all this weird shit. Like for them, they think, oh, you should go and work for a bank or become a lawyer or something and do like the
100%.
normal job. But like for me, it's like fuck being normal, fuck being average. Like I don't want that. I want the polar opposite of that. And I think that was probably some of the things, I guess, that maybe sort of pulled you back in.
Yeah, I mean, when you're told that or you believe that when you're younger, you look at that, is this a real job? Is this a real, like, could I really pursue this?